Okay.
Okay. Question. Do you see on the screen, please produce copies of all correspondence, emails, documents, maps, texts, or other writings pertaining to the alleged official solve in Wyoming? Back in August, you objected to it, but you've come back and said there was nothing to be produced. So basically, you're saying that there's nothing pertaining to the official solve. You have no possession of anything. And Carl Sumner says correct.
No, not Carl, Zoe.
Zoe. Or any knowledge of the official solve. Zoe says correct. Is that correct? That is correct. So you have no way of knowing if Jack Stoof is the actual finder than if you have no knowledge of any of this. Would that be fair to say? And she says no. Why not?
Okay,
Because I saw the chest and he was the correct solver.
so before you go to I think there's one more slide. So Shiloh has said there is he calls it the solution video. And we just saw that Carl said there is video evidence of Forrest saying that on videotape that either solve or proves that Jack's the finder. That slide you just read of Zoe's statement saying that is correct, I have nothing. Do you find that contradictory? Is that?
No, it means she hasn't watched it. That's all it means in my.
No, but
She
it
has
says
no
she has
knowledge of it.
possession. It didn't. Okay, go back.
Well, if Carl has possession, I think Zoe can say, I personally don't have possession of it.
She is the representative. She has a fiduciary responsibility to know. Like, she could also say, I might have Sitting Bull's deep side, but I didn't look at it, so I don't have to produce it. Like, huh?
Well, I don't know. Well, let's read it again because it's a little bit confusing.
Because it doesn't say, does she have. Okay, so.
You have no possession of anything.
Possession.
Correct.
She has possession. She owns it, right?
I don't know.
She gave it to her
I don't know.
attorney and no, she has it. How do they shop it to Netflix and not have it? And Shiloh's already confirmed they shopped it to Netflix or knowledge. She has knowledge.
Right. Or any knowledge of the official solve. Correct. Okay. So you have no way of knowing if Jack Stoof is the actual finder than if you have no knowledge of any of this. Would that be fair to say? And then she says no. He says, why not? Because I saw the chest and he was the correct solver. But he never told you anything about the solve, meaning Jack, right? He did not tell me anything about the solve. No. Okay, so he just appeared one day with the chest and you assumed he was the correct finder. Is that correct? And she says correct. Well, if they also said we don't remember how much it was it appraised for, that doesn't sound right to me.
Well, if she said I don't remember if I have possession of a video of Forrest going over the solve, I would agree, but she didn't say that. She said I do not have maybe personal possession, but she does have personal possession because she tried to sell it to Netflix. So
yeah, that's the last slide. Yeah, that does sound strange.
It seems.
I mean, could she try and say Shiloh has possession of it? I don't. That doesn't sound right either, does it?
What I understand, when you are a representative, you have the fiduciary responsibility to know what's in the estate.
Well, so probably be a good question.
She doesn't have knowledge that there is a solve video. She might not have looked at it. She might leave it with Carl, but she doesn't have knowledge that there's a solve video when Shiloh has said, me and my family are shopping it to Netflix.
But didn't Shiloh say that how far after this trial? A year or so? Do we know the time?
So you think that by that question,
I'm just asking the question.
Zoe only became familiar with the video after the trial, but not before?
That would be a good question for Carl. I don't know if he would answer it, but that would be a good question for Carl. Yeah, I don't know how they could say no. We don't have any video, but then they tried to sell it or say we'd be open to selling
any video, just not even knowledge. She's saying she doesn't even have knowledge that there's a video. That is surprising based on Shiloh's words that he calls it the solution video was shopped to Netflix by his family. Do you think Shiloh could know that there's a video and not Zoe as the representative?
No, but I wonder the timing of the trial. That's all. So in other words, the day that Forrest filmed it with Carl filmed it with Forrest, did Zoe know then? Did she know the next day? Did she know?
This deposition was in August of 20. I mean, this was
years later.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't have the answer to that. It might be a little lawyer-ese going on there because there's possession and then there's legal possession, everybody. So I don't know.
But it's not possession. It's knowledge.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, if they said possession, I could see her saying, well, my lawyer had it, I didn't. Yeah. Let's get semantics. She's saying she had no knowledge when Carl in the deposition stated it exists.
But protected under client attorney. Is the client attorney privilege between him and Forrest also with the family, or is that separate? In other words, if Carl and Forrest made this video and that's between Carl and Forrest. Does the family get ownership of it, or that's still between Carl and Forrest, even though
That's
Forrest?
how they're trying to sell it. Yeah, they get ownership of it. But
Yeah,
they get
and I don't
ownership
know.
of it.
I
They're
don't know
getting
how she.
ownership of it. They're trying to sell it, but they're saying they have no knowledge of it, all in the same deposition. That's super surprising to me.